All right, and good afternoon, everybody. This is just going to be a slight one-off in the conservative series based on biblical conservatism and monarchy. Now, I know that there are several people in the, shall we say, the dark Enlightenment crowd, some people, especially across the pond, who think, for some odd reason, that the monarchy is the true and Christian way. And you would be wrong. The concept of having a king in the ancient scriptures is not the default. It is not the holy way. As a matter of fact, when Israel was first given a king, or asked for a king, we should say, it was seen as degenerate. And the Lord acknowledged that it was degenerate, and the prophets who helped the Lord institute the new king told the people that essentially you will be returning to a form of slavery reminiscent of Egypt. Your children will be enslaved and beholden to this new master that you are setting up instead of the Lord. This was very clearly spelled out to the children of Israel before they brought on the first king, who was Saul. Now, there is a legitimate question as to if monarchy was not the traditional way, what was? And that's a very good question. And the answer, of course, was a simple, holistic form of confederated patriarchy. Every family, every people, every tribe, and every family had their own piece of land. And that land and that inheritance was passed on, and the authority of that land was then passed on from father to son, to son, to son, so on and so forth. Even economically, there were laws called Jubilee, where every 50 years, if you had to sell your land, you could redeem it for the price in which it was sold in the first place. You couldn't increase the price of a man's inheritance when he came to reclaim what was rightfully his by blood and inheritance. This is this is where the Dark Enlightenment people get it half right and half wrong. They want to appeal to a more wholesome and natural tradition. They just wrongly, incorrectly identify which tradition that is. It is not the monarchy in and of itself. It is the family. It is the patriarchy. It is it is in a sense a refutation of the Enlightenment, in that when it came to the people of Israel, there were no rights, there was only covenants. There was a promised natural exchange between the people and their God. As long as he was their God, they were entitled to thus. That is the covenant. As opposed to the rights which we are told are inherent and just spring forth from the ether. That was not how the ancients thought of themselves in any way, shape, or form. Another aspect which the Dark Enlightenment thinkers, the reactionaries as they like to call themselves, get only half right, is once again the appeal to, shall we say, a title or pure inheritance, as it were, or in other words, a trust in a divinely established hierarchy based on the nobility of the monarch that would be established. This is not the original pattern. This was not the original edict from which the Lord gave the people. Now, it is true that the Enlightenment has betrayed you in the sense that your inheritance has been traded out for mere economy. Everything is for sale, and nothing, especially the land upon which you live, is considered inherently sacred. That is anathema to the original, true Christian manner of living. There is always an inheritance which is preferable to the raw economic exchange. Now, lastly, what the Enlightenment chose to focus on and should not have was sheer raw individualism. We see in the original covenant that the biblical form of conservatism was far more entrenched and concerned with the family unit itself. And these are the failures of the Enlightenment. We traded covenants for rights, we traded inheritance for economy, and we traded the family for individualism. And all of this is found in great detail in the Old Testament, and is the true core of what can be described as biblical conservatism. And it is, point by point, how the Enlightenment has failed. However, it does rebuff and, shall we say, temper the extreme notions of what can be called dark Enlightenment thinking. That is all I have to say on the subject, and I hope this finds you well. Stay carnal, everyone, and God bless.